Today's meme of the day is... Well, I suppose we better get to this because our big finale's coming soon, and it's one that was already shown on the fundraiser, and it's one that's been requested for a long time, and it took.
And this is the Kickstarter episode I've been waiting for.
Yep.
Originally advertised as episode 200.
Yep, and it literally took people giving money to the show for this episode to happen, but we're finally getting Ash versus Yugi, Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh. The quote-unquote rivals from old childhood memories. I say quote-unquote because I have a bit of a funny history regarding Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. At least where I used to live. But yeah, we're finally getting a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, and hey, Ash is actually finally getting a death battle. I know technically Pikachu, his Pikachu specifically got an episode, but he didn't have Ash. So it's like, hey, now Pikachu actually gets to have his trainer with him.
Yeah, and something I want to bring up, because this is something I realized. Season 2's finale was Red versus Tai, which was 2015. 10 years later, now we're having Ash.
It comes full circle.
And this just so happens to be Death Battle's 15th anniversary.
God, Death Battle's been around for 15 years. If that doesn't give you an old grey beard, nothing will. But yeah, I guess, yeah, Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh! This is surprising. There is actually quite a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon themed death battles that I am quite surprised aren't as frequent as like Marvel versus DC or even Pokemon versus Digimon. Well, okay, to be fair, they only have two episodes of Pokemon versus Digimon, but my point still stands.
Well, for Yu-Gi-Oh, like, this is the only matchup I really see them, like, doing for Yugi. Like, Jaden has versus Ben, but I don't really see any others getting requested.
There used to be a push for Yusei a while back, before Jaden versus Ben became popular.
Right.
Ah, I must have missed that.
I don't blame it because it was for friggin' Jotaro for some reason.
Yeah, so... You know, when this episode was first talked about during the early days of Death Battle, when I was first getting into it, I never quite understood it because, I'll be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't really that popular when I was a kid, or more so in my local area, because obviously every area you go to, there's some things that are going to be more popular than others. I mean, you know, obviously Pokemon's still more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! But I was quite surprised to learn that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was almost just as popular as like Digimon and stuff like that. I thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Was this kind of one. Like, do you guys remember as kids, alongside Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, when those things started getting popular, so many like anime-themed like toys were coming out that related to kids using monsters to fight other monsters, that sort of thing. Like, there's this very underrated one that I'm not sure you guys know, Monsuno. Do you guys remember that?
No.
No, I'm not that.
I remember Bakugan.
Yeah, Bakugan was another one. That was like semi-popular on like Nickelodeon.
That one I remember.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because like, at least when I was growing up between those three, Digimon was the least popular one in my area.
No,
yeah, I remember growing up, like, no one talked about Digimon. Like, it was always either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!
See, that's like the opposite with me, like, because I was even like in the area when kids were playing, like, Digimon toys were also crazy in my area. I used to have this like Argumon. It was like a really big Argumon toy that you would take apart and it would turn into like a War Greymon. Basically, War Greymon was inside the Argumon, and then you just, it's like those weird little egg things. You just take apart the Argumon and use his head as the wings instead of him having his own wings.
Dude, I really want to play the newer Digimon game though, because I've never really like played one.
Oh, it is so good. You know what? Forget playing Pokemon A and Z. Like, Jesus Christ, just play the new Digimon game. It is so good.
I heard it has something Pokemon doesn't. Voice acting.
Yeah, Digimon's always had a voice acting. Like, Dude, that's we could rant about the Pokemon games not having voice acting, but this we're not talking about that. We're talking about the popularity of these two franchises, because yeah, like Megan saying about Digimon not being popular, it was kind of the opposite with me and Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I heard Yu-Gi-Oh talked about, but I never really saw anyone of my friends do it. Like, at one point, because there was like these trailers for like Jetix. That's where I know people have like
EX.
Yeah, but
Oh, you mean the channel? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were just mispronouncing Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
No, Jetix. Sorry, mate, you can't do your nerd emoji on me, because for once I'm doing the nerd emoji on you. That feels weird to do.
I also pointed out my own error.
Well, just let me have this, man. it's rare.
Let Bill have his own trap card.
Yeah, for once, mate, can I have the nerd emoji for once?
Continue.
Yeah, that actually kind of feels weird. Like, technically, mate, I was saying like, I could be the nerd emoji. Then mate corrected my nerd emoji by doing a nerd emoji. That's like the most ultimate Uno reverse card. But yeah, so when it comes to like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like I heard about it, but one point I just brought up. I remember seeing the trailers for it on Jetix, which I guess there was 4 kids in the UK. Like, wasn't there? Or was that just an American thing? Yeah, I never really saw 4 kids, really. But Jetix was kind of how I got introduced to, like, Sonic X, really underrated Sonic cartoon. I was quite surprised to learn there was a lot more darker in Japanese. Yeah, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was advertised. In fact, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was being advertised a few times on TV, and as a kid I was like, I want to check this out. But then I got introduced to, like, you know, the X-Men cartoon, Spider-Man, stuff like that. And they kind of showed Yu-Gi-Oh! At a very... Well, late in terms of, like, when I had to go to bed as a kid. Like, I think they started showing it around, like, 6 p.m. where I lived. Or at least on
I went to bed at 6 as a kid?
Or no, I'd go off and do different things. Like, I'd watch a bit of TV with my brother and sister, then we'd go out to the park for a bit and play and stuff like that. Go to our other parents' house. So, yeah, there wasn't really much, you know, I didn't really have time to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that was when me and my sister and brother kind of did our activities and stuff like that. So, you know, I was kind of robbed of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up as a kid. Pokemon, on the other hand, yeah, me and my sister watched the hell out of that as a kid. And this might surprise people, I never actually played any of the Pokemon games until Pokemon Diamond. That was actually my first ever Pokemon game.
And you played the worst version of Gen 4.
Okay, look, mate, you do not want to get into a British argument with me. Pokemon Diamond, and do you know what? I'm actually just going to also just give this out. Pokemon Diamond is better than Platinum. Platinum's
I highly disagree.
Pokemon Platinum's only thing going for it is the freaking whatever dimension it was called with Giratina. Like,
Distortion dimension?
Yes, that is the only thing that's saving it. The opening of Platinum takes far too long. You have to basically go through all these extra things, get introduced to a galactic villain early. Just overall, it's just bloated with pointless content. Diamond is simple, and the only thing I'll say that Platinum does do better than it, at least it gives like some of the gym leaders on Elite Four actual, you know, types that match their gyms. Seriously, the electric gym.
Yeah, because it actually had a good Pokedex.
Yeah. Other than that, though, Platinum's just bloated with so much pointless content. And honest, given how Pokemon's gone as of late, that's not too far off of how they've become lately. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We could debate that another time. Lads debate Pokemon Diamond versus Pokemon Platinum. Not talking about...
Winner is both. I like Gen 4. The end.
But anyway, like, rant out the way. So, obviously my other introduction to Pokemon was, well, pretty original anime. I think in the West version it's called Pokemon Indigo League, whereas in the original it's just called Pokemon. So
I think Indigo League was a separate thing.
Yeah, or maybe that's just it called on Netflix version. But yeah, so that was my introduction to, well, Ash Ketchum, Pikachu, because yeah, I wasn't really that familiar with Pikachu either. I knew about Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. Did not know what a Pikachu was until I watched the anime and I saw Ash get a Pikachu. And I always, you know, when I went back to watch Pokemon as well a little bit for the next time, I was quite surprised just how chunky Pikachu used to be. Like, he was a chunky boy back then.
The best way with like both these animes just in general is just the legacy and bonds over friendship, and their allies are basically limitless in a way.
Yeah. I also feel as though Ash and
Yeah.
Pikachu have a very strong. I mean, they have a long time history of just building their bond because I forgot just how much of a little shit Pikachu was in the early season of Pokemon, man. Like, I can't remember what episode it was, but when Ash was calling Pikachu to battle this trainer, and Pikachu just has a freaking bed all prepared for him, and he just falls asleep. I'm like, where did you even get that from?
Wait, was that samurai guy in the Viridian Forest?
Maybe. I mean, I was like, what, 7 when this anime was really popular, so... I will admit, this is probably another unpopular opinion from me. I don't think the Pokemon anime didn't get any better until Gen 2. I think that's when the Pokemon anime was starting to hit a really good stride with their Pokemon battles as well as like episodes. Because, yeah, I will admit, a lot of early Pokemon season stuff, their Pokemon battles are kind of lame.
Ash's story went on for years, and like, I remember how nuts the internet went when his story finally ended.
Oh, yeah, even Japan.
That just shows how much of an impact this character has had for decades.
Yeah, you know, Ash has had like a reverso what Deku had when it comes to anime community. Because even during when he first debuted, Ash was kind of treated as a bit of a joke, even by Pokemon themselves, and even on like TV shows where they would constantly show Ash in the trailers just getting absolutely wrecked. I mean, hell, like, there was even going to be an alternative opening to Pokemon versus Digimon where they were just going to have Red and Tai just have their Digimon and Pokemon kill Ash. It's like, he was a bit of a joke back in the day. And it doesn't help, Black and White definitely dumbed him down a bit.
Yeah, and then it gave him arguably the worst league loss he ever had.
Yeah, like, I remember in like X and Y when he went up against, what the hell was his name? Alan or something?
Alan,
yeah. Like, people say that was his worst loss, and I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong, that character sucks, and he definitely just comes out of nowhere and just steals Ash's potential victory. Not as bad as like Black and White's though. Like, it's not the fact he lost to like some random character. It's the fact I guess he kind of is. He lost to basically a comedic relief. Like, not a rival.
I would not call Alan that.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, in like, what I can't remember the character.
The Black and White anime I think is what he's referring to.
Yeah, because he lost to basically a joke character. Because he had a constant gag where, he would always like be missing something or and stuff like that. And yeah, that's how he lost. I'm like, wow. Compared to the other losses, like, at least he had a challenge. This guy's literally a joke character.
At least, like, when he lost in Diamond and Pearl, like, yeah, it was to a dude who was just made to win the league, like, nothing more. But at least Ash did the one thing no one in all of Sinnoh could do, and that was beat his Darkrai.
Yeah, like, he actually had...
And Latios.
Yeah, like, you know what, he had that going for him, like, whereas... Alarm was just a character, unless you saw the spin-off series, he just came out of nowhere and beat Ash, but at least he went up against a Mega Charizard. It's like, he's got that. Like, and also, I do love his Blast Burn animation, it is pretty sick in X and Y anime. But, yeah, Black and White did not do Ash justice, but thankfully, X and Y and even Sun and Moon, especially Sun and Moon, really gave, like, a glow-up to his character. And... it even got even better with Sword and Shield. Like, Jesus Christ, I really thought, alright, they're just going to make Ash, like, probably lose to Cynthia or something like that. The moment he beat Steven, I was like, did this guy just defeat a champion? And seriously, Pikachu versus Mega Metagross is really awesome, especially with the music.
True.
And then he defeats Cynthia. Not only did he defeat Cynthia, he defeated her Garchomp with a Lucario. Like...
Which doesn't make sense based off typing, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, well, I think that was actually a really underrated trait of Ash, because people always use game logic when they criticize Ash. Unlike people, he has like the biggest brag ever. He had a type disadvantage, and hell, in some cases, he even has like, Pokemon that haven't even fully reached their potential of their evolutions, and they still kicked more ass than the other person. Like, his Snivy lasted longer against an Emboar than it realistically should have. Like,
There's also his Bulbasaur, like, stalemating a Meganium.
exactly. It's like, yeah, like, Ash's Pokemon barely evolve, yet they could probably kick more of your fully evolved Pokemon's asses than your pre-evolution one could. I mean, hell, Pikachu's just still a Pikachu, and it managed to rival, like, legendary Pokemon. Like, let that sink in. Like, obviously, if they used game logic to criticize Ash, like, logically, you could use game logic to make, well, any character seem pathetic. Like, technically, the Dragonborn shouldn't have beaten the Dark Souls character because do you know how many cooldowns his magic has? But yeah, I definitely feel as I haven't seen the newer Pokemon anime. I have heard it's really good, but yeah, I do feel as though Ash had the biggest like character arc, and I feel as though his victory was definitely earned.
I mean, there's still a part of me that hopes they bring Ash to like Paldea, just because I think he and Nemona would be like entertaining rivals to each other.
Yeah, but I'm also just thinking, look, Ash had his ending, like, let that be it.
Yeah, I mean, would I be against Ash returning for, you know, future Pokemon season? I mean, no, I wouldn't be against that. Like, but I feel as though, like, again, I do agree with me. Like, you know, Ash's story's done, and some people complain that Ash's story ending where he's just going to continue going on adventures. I'm like, can you just?
I mean, that's how a story should end.
Yeah. Also, I'm just kind of looking as like, isn't that technically kind of how all our adventures end when we play Pokemon games? We defeat the champion, then we get ready to buy the next Pokemon game and go on another adventure. You know.
Look, he did the thing that the very first theme song once said. He became the best like no one ever was.
Yeah. Oh, do you know, before we actually do move to Yugi, one of the, you know, when Sean was mentioning how Ash's victory like blew up the internet, even Tokyo was cheering because they showed like the episode live in public. They sometimes do like those big like screenings in the middle of Tokyo. Yeah, people were cheering when Ash beat the Charizard. So literally,
Leon, right?
Yeah, literally a whole country was cheering for this boy. Like, yeah, just enough said, really. I also love both the original Japanese dub and the English dub brought back the first opening singers just to re-sing like the original theme tune to the final battle.
Yeah, that was a fantastic touch.
Yeah, because when I saw the Japanese dub first before the English one, I was really kind of like, oh, can you imagine if they get the original singer for like the English dub? And Lord and behold, they did. Even the actress who played as Ash, like, seriously, some people are still surprised when they find out Ash is voiced by a woman. It's like, did you guys never grow up in the 90s? Most of your male heroes were voiced by women. But yeah, like, I was genuinely surprised, like, the actress for Ash was even cheering when she found out Ash is going to win in the Japanese dub and saying, I can't wait to voice those lines. Like, and you can even hear her excitement when she screams for Pikachu to use, like, I think it was Thunderbolt he used, even though it does come off more of him just using Volt Tackle. But he doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah, I was actually surprised it was Thunderbolt versus Fire Blast and not like Volt Tackle versus Flare Blitz.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's because Pikachu technically doesn't have Volt Tackle anymore. I think he traded it for Electro Ball. Well, then it got changed into Electro Web, which it still feels weird seeing Pikachu use an Electric Web. But, yeah, that's kind of my history of Pokemon and just general on why I'm excited for Ash. But now to talk about something that you two are going to have to inform me on, because Yu-Gi-Oh! I know briefly moments of the lore, like, but most of that just comes from Mate.
So, we're talking about Yugimoto, the first protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Because Yu-Gi-Oh's still gone on, and there have been different protagonists, obviously.
I was actually going to ask
different spin-offs and different casts.
Yeah,
Right.
I was actually going to ask, is Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually still going on?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
I thought, like, the anime kind of finished and they were just releasing video games and new cards for it.
Nah, like, every now and then they do, like, release a new spin-off which highlights whatever the new mechanic of the card game is, and
Yeah, they did like a Chronicles one, diving deeper into like some of the monsters lore, and
That's it.
it was really good. I think the first episode was like Sky Strikers. No, Yugi was the first original protag of the series, and his story is very interesting. As shown in Dante vs. Clive, it's mostly about friendship, but hey, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, Yugi even just like started out like because like the dude loved playing games and he just wanted to play games to make friends. Unfortunately, he just didn't have any, and he was picked on a lot. Then his granddad gave him this like Egyptian puzzle, and he heard like, oh, once it's solved, it will grant any wish, and he just wanted to wish for friends.
Oof.
And after an encounter with a bully who would become a motorcycle riding security guard in the future, look it up, he was able to actually get friends before he even finished it. And when he finished the puzzle, his spirit got merged with that of a Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah, so Yugi's technically two people in one, Bill.
Oh yeah, I kind of knew that thanks to the abridged series, but I'm just like, yeah, like go over like the whole story of the anime and stuff like that, because it's like, because you know, I watched the abridged series, but as much as we love Team 4-Star and some of the abridged stuff, they do gloss over the major story because it's meant to be an abridged story.
Oh, he goes from fighting a guy named Pegasus, who has the same voice actor as James, I believe, in the English dub.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that was Battle City.
Yeah,
no,
actually,
I believe not Battle City. Duelist Kingdom.
Duelist Kingdom.
Then eventually, starting in Battle City, was when the Egyptian god cards came into play.
Actually, Bill, I just want to throw this out there. Pegasus was also the creator of the card game that they all play. And he had this Egyptian artifact called the Millennium Eye, which let him see into people's minds. So, basically, if you play against him, he'll know every card that you have and every strategy you even think of making.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm just getting...
And he has cards that were never released to the public and are kind of overpowered.
I'm not gonna lie, I am just getting like deja vu of when me and mate were playing Worms, and while I'm trying to strategize, figure out a way how to kill his worm, he's just explaining like the lore of one Yu-Gi-Oh character. But at least in this case, we actually have a reason for the lore dump.
And yeah,
Well,
Yugi was able to beat him.
Yeah, that's just the first main villain of this series.
Yeah, and then we got the introduction of the Egyptian gods and, you know, more backstory on the pharaoh, because that's like a lot of the story is like, who is the pharaoh? Because he actually doesn't remember his past, so it's all about like unlocking that. And, you know, why is he here? Because he has to like save the world again. So, yeah, Battle City, gotta collect the god cards, go into a virtual realm and fight a small boy with green hair for a while. But eventually win another championship. Saving a family in the process.
Yeah, the family of his rival, Kaiba.
Oh, no, I was talking about Marek.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking like the virtual world story with Noah. I thought you were leading into that as well.
Oh, no, I just like glossed over that because, I mean, it's technically filler, but, I mean, it did still happen. And even then, I don't think Kaiba really gives that much of a shit. Aside from just assuring that his adopted father is dead.
Yeah, the Egyptian gods, at least at the time, were like the biggest, most powerful cards at this point.
Yeah, I mean, lore-wise, they're still regarded as like the most powerful monsters like in existence, which I mean makes sense. They are the gods.
Then I forget what the arc was called, but I always call it like the Orichalcos arc.
Oh yeah, where Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey were the chosen ones to wield these legendary dragon gods. Timaeus, Critias, and Hamos.
Hamos, these nuts. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and in one of the most confusing final turns, Yugi was able to defeat a guy named Darts.
Yeah, who had a monster with infinite attack points. And how did he beat him? By summoning a force beyond infinity.
Trust us, Bill, that it doesn't make sense, we know.
Oh, no, I was actually thinking, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because, you know, when it comes to, like, these sort of animes, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, they do just make things up as they go along. Like, don't you guys remember when, like, freaking, like, Pikachu, and I think it was, I can't remember what the name of the bird was in Gen 3, but, yeah, there was literally a moment where Pikachu made electric armor.
Squello?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that.
And it's just like...
I know some people, like, rationalize that as, like, guts. But, I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, that bird should have been roasted just from that alone.
I mean, it should have.
Like, yeah, like, it's like, did people forget about typings? But, I mean, it's cool, but it just is like, it was just one of those cases where that doesn't make any sense. But that, again, it's like, if I was to criticize that, then I would have to criticize, like, a lot of Marvel DC comics that also do things that are also ludicrous. So it's like, you know, I don't want to seem like that sort of person that's double standards. It's like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that happens then. This world tournament happens with some German dude who wants revenge on Kaiba. It's another filler arc.
I've heard Yu-Gi-Oh is quite guilty of, like, a lot of filler arcs. I guess so is Pokemon, but at least they introduce a new Pokemon in those episodes.
He also just was able to showcase, like, how clever Yugi is a lot of the times.
Yeah, like, in the final duel of that tournament, his opponent, Leon, is given a card which was banned because it was too powerful. And the guy who gave him that card, Siegfried, modified it to make it unbeatable. Like, it can't be destroyed, and to keep it on the field, the opponent has to send half of their deck to the graveyard each turn.
You guys have actually wanted me to play some of the Yu-Gi-Oh games with you guys, and I'm just like, it just sounds like there's just a lot of setup before you can actually really do all the cool stuff. Which I'm just like, that just sounds boring to me. It's like,
if you're clever about it, you can skip it.
I know, but a lot of, like, even when Sean used to upload, like, a few Yu-Gi-Oh videos on his own channel, I'm just like, most of this is just setting up, man. It's like, this is boring. It's like, at least, like, you know, as much as I criticize a lot of Pokemon games, at least you could just jump into the action.
I was actually going to ask, Bill, how do you beat that hacked card? That you can't destroy.
I don't know. I don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I've only watched Sean really play it. As well as you were on it.
So Yugi uses his turn to draw a bunch of cards, send some cards from his deck to the graveyard, and while everyone is just like, what the hell is he doing? It's Leon's turn, and Siegfried is like, well, Yugi, now you have to send half of your deck to the graveyard. And he's like, yeah, I can't do that. Because there's only one card left in his deck.
Oh.
And you can't send half of that to the graveyard. So the castle destroys itself.
Okay, that is a big brain play right now. Just picture Yugi like, this is big brain time.
Yeah. Oh, not even that. There's also how he beats Slifer. So his opponent is using Slifer, and Slifer's whole thing is that the more cards you have in your hand, the stronger it is. But this guy also has a card called Infinite Cards, which removes the player hand limit. He also has a card called Revival Jam, and a trap that goes with it called Jam Defender, which means if you try and attack him, Revival Jam will intercept it, then come back. But he also has a card that means whenever a new card comes back from the graveyard, he draws 3 cards, thus increasing Slifer's attack power.
I'm trying to actually understand why people are saying Yugi and Ash have more in common than they would seem at first glance, because both used unorthodox ways of like getting around broken like enemies.
Yeah. So this sounds pretty unbeatable, especially given Slifer's other ability where any new monster that's summoned, Slifer blasts it immediately to weaken it. But if the monster's too weak, then it just gets destroyed. So Yugi uses brain control to take control of Revival Gem, which Slifer then has to attack, destroy, but because of Revival Gem's effect, it will just come back. Therefore, his opponent has to draw 3 cards. But because it came back and is a new monster technically, Slifer has to attack it again, rinse and repeat.
Huh. Starting to think you might have put yourself in a bit of a lose situation there, mate.
Yeah, because he then has to keep drawing cards forever until, well, he decks out and loses.
I bet that this is one of those animes as well where the villains have very dramatic, like, "Nani?" sort of reactions when they realise they're done for. Do you know what Yugi comes off as? He comes off as a anime Columbo, but instead of like the whole tricking the people into exposing their crimes, he tricks them into using their most powerful cards to the point they're like, oh. Now I'm just picturing Yugi just going, oh, just one more thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Then there's Season 0 where...
Oh, we're on a bit
Yikes.
of a... Yeah, but if you couldn't tell, like, Yugi's big thing is just, like, how creative and smart he is in all of these duels he has been in. And just like Ash, he has his preferred monsters.
Yeah, of course, like, the main one is Dark Magician, which has a whole lot of backstory to it. So when they finally get to the Pharaoh's Pass, like, he gets sent back in time to when he was Pharaoh. And one such servant he had, who was also one of his closest friends, was Mahad. And he used this monster called the Illusion Magician. And then in a fight with like the big bad of the season, he had to merge with his Illusion Magician to keep the fight going. But he got sealed inside a stone tablet, which, well, made him no longer like a mortal man and whatnot.
Would you say
So from that point on...
Would you say he had a Muhard life?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, come on, that was
from
actually
that point,
clever.
I'll give you that. But from that point on, he became the Dark Magician, who was like the Pharaoh's like most loyal servant and one of his closest friends. Which is also why Yugi has such an attachment to that card.
Is the Dark Magician that cute anime girl looking one, or is it the purple armored one?
It's the purple armored one.
That's the one.
The cute girl one is the Dark Magician girl.
Oh, okay. So I was partially right. Okay.
You were partially right, so you partially pass.
Yeah. I might actually want to give this anime a watch now. It took until the death battle until I'm like, oh wow, mate's actually made it sound interesting. Because a lot of times when mate explains to me Yu-Gi-Oh lore, it would be when we're in the middle of talking about something else or we're playing a game and I'm like, I think it was like at one point we were playing Halo 2 and I'm being shot at by a Jackal Sniper and he's explaining Yu-Gi-Oh to me. I'm like, bitch, do you not see the freaking Jackal Sniper?
No, it's just like Bill's like, oh, I'm sorry, making you repeat that. I have a needle sniper shot in my ear.
He's like, do you understand what I'm saying, Bill? Me just on a bloodied floor, my ghost looks over my corpse like, no. I'm not sure if it was exactly Halo, but I just remember like we were playing a game together and I'm being shot at and he's like explaining to me like a certain villain in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm just like, I want to pay attention, but I'm also trying to survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like with how long some of those levels go on for, where it's just like you go along a corridor, just kill a bunch of enemies, rinse and repeat. Yeah. So, like, talk about something.
I suppose that's true.
There's
I feel as though I'm definitely getting more interested in Yu-Gi-Oh now because it's like, hey, I actually have to listen and understand this. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, this show actually sounds pretty sick. I want to check it out.
Yeah. And one other thing about like the whole story is like, so the Pharaoh kind of starts out as like this like serious like we have to get this thing done, whereas Yugi is more like kind but also quite shy. So it's like them learning from each other. Like, there was one instance where that kind of came to a head in their rematch with Kaiba. It's in Duelist Kingdom. Yugi was trying to save his grandfather, but from Pegasus. But Pegasus had also kidnapped Kaiba's brother Mokuba. So they both needed to get into the castle to fight Pegasus. So they had a duel for who gets in. And when it became clear that Yugi was about to win, Kaiba backed up and stood on the edge of the castle wall and basically said, Yugi, if you attack me, I'm just gonna jump.
Oh, damn. That's pretty hardcore.
The Pharaoh was like, no, we have to get in and save your grandfather, Yugi.
Wait, is this the one that spawned that meme with like him the spirit form holding his arm? I've seen that for so many memes. Like, it might not be that, but hold on, let me try and see if I can find a meme. Continue, and I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah. But yeah, Yugi like stepped in and called off the attack. Kaiba won. And then he would go on to lose to Pegasus. And at that point, it was like, you know, learning to trust in the Pharaoh again. And, you know, Yugi had to like gain more confidence, but the Pharaoh had to like relearn compassion.
Ah, okay.
Then, of course, when the Pharaoh ended up going back in time, well, I'm not sure if it is back in time or if it's a pocket dimension. It's weird.
Yeah, also, before you continue, I did find the meme that I remember seeing, but I could be wrong that this might be unrelated, but I just love this meme so much, because I remember seeing that, I'm just like, I can relate to it.
Oh, that's a different moment.
Okay, but I just still love that meme, because this is me whenever I see anything regarding, like, merchandise or things I like. Just my conscience like, don't do it, Bill, no! But I must.
Oh,
you know what? Relatable.
Yeah. But yeah, their stories are nuts.
Yeah, so a whole bunch of stuff happens, and it's all about like finding out about the Pharaoh's past. And in like a confrontation with the big bad, the rest of the gang were able to reach the Pharaoh, and they have his name like engraved on something. He looks at it and announces his name, but also gains like access to his full power again and just one-shots the big bad.
Oh my god, he's basically anime Shazam!
If you're curious, and spoiler alert for a multi-decade like story that's long since over, his name was King Atem.
Great, now I don't want to watch Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. Thanks, mate!
But there was one final duel to be had. Because now that the evil is destroyed, it means Atem's job is done, and he can finally move on to the afterlife and rest. But in order for him to get there, he has to perform one last duel, and it has to be against someone who will go all out against him. And who better than Yugi himself?
Aww, that's actually really sad.
This is also Yugi's way of proving that he can continue without Atem. But at the same time, like, he doesn't want to win.
Oh, that's actually, man, Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely a much more darker anime than I thought compared to Pokemon. It's like, imagine having to duel someone that you've been with for like pretty much almost your whole life, or you know, a whole kid life.
Like your adolescent years.
Yeah, like
Jesus Christ, microphone.
Man, his microphone was like so emotional, it had to turn off.
It literally tried to jump off my desk after hearing.
I can't live without their friendship anymore. Right, like damn, I knew glimpses of the anime, well, most of the story through the abridged series, which might not be the best source for like these sort of characters. Like, as much as I do love the abridged series of Dragon Ball and all that, let's be real here, they don't really nail the personality of the characters to 100%.
Well, no, because like it's a parody.
Yeah, like, as much as people always joke about, like, oh, Goku doesn't love Gohan in the abridged, it's like, that's not really how he is in the actual anime. But, yeah, so I might actually check out the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime.
Cable comes loose.
Hey, Sean's back. Yeah, I might actually...
Yeah, the cable came loose when the microphone fell.
Oh,
Bill, I will just say, be prepared for like some duels to go on for like up to 4 episodes, and a lot of friendship speeches.
Mate, I grew up with Naruto.
Fair enough.
Like,
Yeah, no, like
that's all I need to say. Like, you're talking about 4 episodes of filler fights? Mate, I had to deal with like almost 6 episodes with flashbacks mixed in.
yeah. So this is also just a series where, just like Pokemon, the dub and the Japanese version are also just really well voiced. Even though there is a couple differences with some scenes.
Yeah, isn't it also in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Japanese
Oh.
dub, they actually do drop a few swear words, including the I could be wrong about that, but I remember like there was certain animes like Yu-Gi-Oh! That did drop a few like hard swear words that had to be censored. Even in the Japanese
Also, there was actually blood in the original anime, fun fact, but 4Kid censorship happened.
I do know about the 4 kids memes, like the guy pointing his finger at like one of the villains, where it's clearly meant to be a gun, like...
Yep.
Freeze or we'll shoot. Go right ahead. Bang, bang, ba-dow, 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 bang.
Like-
Oh no, you got me. Hey, stop making fun of our invisible guns. Bang. Larry, stop it.
Yeah, like, I do know those memes, because... Like, it's not only the case of Yu-Gi-Oh! Even Digimon had to censor quite a lot of animes. Like, this might surprise people. Digimon actually has a few moments of characters dying on screen, including blood. Like,
Yikes.
yeah, like, one of the most saddest ones from Digimon was, like, this one called Wizardmon. Trust me, most Digimon literally had Mon at the end of their names. It almost sounds like you're talking to a Jamaican.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, good mon.
I'm pretty sure there was one dub where they gave, like, Greymon a Jamaican accent.
I'm pretty sure there was one, but... In fact, there was even a moment where they introduced like this kid who's lived with Digimon his whole life. He refers to humans as humans. That doesn't get redundant and annoying after so long, trust me. But yeah,
Right.
like in the English dub, Wizardmon was just he was hit by an attack and he just quickly falls back, and his quote unquote last words before he must go is that he gives his power to like a Digimon. I can't remember what it was. The one that Angemon digivolves from, Katamon, I think. But in the Japanese one, he gets fully impaled, and it's like a very slow motion, like slow death moment where you have to take that in that this evil character who turned good just gets killed, and then he actually did officially die in the Japanese dub, given his last energy to allow another Digimon to digivolve. Whereas That's not far off of a few like bad guys in Yu-Gi-Oh, like the Yorikaukos arc in particular. There's this one Raphael who came from a rich family, and one day they were on a cruise for his birthday, and a tidal wave happened, and he got stranded on a desert island for most of his childhood and into his adult life. And like the anime, like 4Kids dub just said like, oh, he just got stranded and never reunited with his family. No, in the Japanese, they're straight up dead. Yeah, that's the thing I noticed with a lot of like Japanese and English dubs. Like the English dubs have to get rid of death, even though it's like people, you are when Looney Tunes characters died, right? I'm sure children can handle Yu-Gi-Oh.
Can I just say my favorite example of 4Kids censoring ever?
Well, there has to be a joke about the pocket censorship somewhere, right?
It's when Yugi's dueling Arcana in Battle City. So Arcana sets the duel up. They're both like locked in by the ankles, and there are there's like buzz saws at either end with numbers above them, like indicating life points. The lower the duelist life points get, the closer the saw gets to them. So yeah, if your life points reach 0, then the sword just like slices your legs off and you bleed to death.
Yeesh.
For kids, changed it to be dark energy discs. Once they touch you, they will send your soul to the shadow realm and leave your physical body unharmed.
Oh god, yeah, I do know of that meme as well. Like the amount of memes that were made with the Shadow Realm, like.
So much so that we brought it onto our own server.
Like Jesus Christ, man! Like the whole Shadow Realm memes. Like I remember there was like one with like Jimmy Neutron's dad, to the point the actual actor of that character even referenced it or did like a. I think
he did like a air dub over it.
Yeah. It's like Jesus Christ, man.
I would have thought it would have been a cameo.
It probably was a cameo, actually. Then someone just animated it in Source Filmmaker. Like, it's amazing when like actors recognize the memes. Like, I remember when like the Shipmaster voice actor for Halo, like he plays like the elite in the white armor. Someone I think got him to do a cameo where he talks about the Pickle Rick meme, and those moments like that is why I love like memes like such as the Shadow Realm. Like when actors acknowledge it and stuff. I think even they make a joke about it in like the Japanese dub. But,
actually, there is one cameo I want to shout out, and it's one that Joey's voice actor did. So in Battle City, he ends up dueling Marek, and he almost wins. So if he won, he would have, like, you know, defeated Marek, the world would have been saved, and he would have gotten a god card out of it.
Right.
Someone can, and also to summon this one, the Winged Dragon of Ra, you have to recite a chant that's inscribed upon the card. It's stupid, I know.
Yeah, we'll hear this bit, then we'll give our final thoughts about like how we think this death battle is going to be. So I realised we've probably spoken more about the lore of these characters and not the actual episode.
Yeah. Anyway, so someone cameoed Joey's VA to do that chant in his voice. It's just funny hearing that with a Brooklyn accent.
Jesus Christ! You know, credit to the actors.
Oh boy, the one thing I like about this matchup, like overall, the debate has gotten a lot closer over the years.
Yeah, because originally going into this though, I was quite surprised to learn that the majority of people were kind of siding with Ash on this one, which even when he was a joke character or was treated as a joke, really, and I was like, I didn't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh, but I always came to the conclusion they fought like godlike beings on like regular basis. I mean, it's kind of true, but not to the extent as I thought it would be. So.
Well, like, okay, because like some of it was like figuring out how exactly does this work, because
that was going to be my question, because how Pokémon and Yu-Gi-Oh work is like somewhat similar, but to an extreme level. Like even in terms of like how they interact with the physical plane compared to like Pokemon are like physical entities, whereas the card monsters are kind of, I want to say, semi-physical? Question mark.
Holograms.
Yeah, like they don't cause like environmental damage.
Yeah, it's just Yugi can make them real with the Millennium Puzzle. Also, there's Ka and Ba. I'm probably gonna have to explain that. Basically, Ba is like your soul.
Yeah.
Like your life force, and that's what our life points are. Whereas Ka is like the manifestation of your extended soul, which then becomes your monsters. The stronger your Ba, the stronger your Ka.
Yeah. Funny enough, that's like the only thing about Yu-Gi-Oh I actually had knowledge on.
And this has just been a debate where it's gonna be like, obviously, kind of like Bowser Eggman in a sense, like a big old army, like monster v monster fight.
Yeah. It's just, while Yugi has monsters, he also has, like, spells and traps to, like, go along with them.
And Yugi's advantage in this is his intelligence and tactics.
Yeah, just by how you guys were explaining Yugi, I would actually argue Yugi sounds like he's more of an on-the-spot thinker better than Ash is. Because Ash usually pre-plans a lot of his strategies, because he's studied, like, the gym areas. Whereas Yugi's
which, like, he's not going to be able to do here.
Yeah, whereas Yugi is literally on the spot, like, just doing his whole, like, oh, I can make a way where you had to attack your revival monster thing. And it's just like, well, but that's not fair. It's like, yeah, that's on the spot. That's not something he had to pre-plan going into this.
I actually have another example of, like, on-the-spot thinking for Yugi. After Duelist Kingdom, they introduced a character called Duke Devlin. Anyone who knows a bridge knows the theme music.
Seriously, man, that's the only thing I know about Yu-Gi-Oh, man, is the weird names these characters have.
Well, that's just their
Yugi
translated.
So Joey plays Duke in a duel, loses, and then has to be his slave, and Yugi's like, nah, you know what, I'm gonna play for Joey's freedom. And Duke decides, we'll play a game I created. Yugi has no idea what the rules are. He just has to figure it out by himself, and Duke is the creator of this goddamn game. And Yugi whoops his ass.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, already... Like, don't get me wrong, Ash has had a few moments of showing great improvisation, but I feel as though those are usually when he's going up against... Because a lot of his battles, there's rules to them. Like, you know, I mean, I know Yu-Gi-Oh has rules as well, but, like, in comparison to Pokemon, like, you can only have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at most out, depending on the generation. Like, the only time Ash has to, like, kind of... And that's because he's done in tournaments and stuff like that, as well as, like, the gym battles. Whereas the only time he ever, like, kind of battles more unorthodox and more improvised is when he's going against, like, either the evil teams he's going up against, or, like, some godlike Pokemon that's threatening to destroy the reality and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
which I kind of want to go into, like, the power comparison. So, legendary Pokemon can, like, make or break the universe.
Yeah, Pokémon and Dialga, just their fight alone nearly destroyed all the time and space. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know what people are focusing on with this debate is Solgaleo.
Yeah, I actually could have access to Solgaleo, and I've heard that the researchers are giving, like, everything, so he'll likely have that. There's also the fact that he was able to one-shot Nihilego Lusamine, whose sail made Necrozma, and Necrozma was able to light up the Ultra Space World.
Yeah.
So, like, lit up an entire universe.
See, that feat alone made me think, okay, I feel like Ash has the power advantage, but from how you described a lot of the villains that Yugi has to fight...
Well, here's the thing. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the final battle is Jaden versus Yugi. And Yubel, who is, like, bonded with Jaden's soul, and is kind of like his Atem at this point, senses the power from Yugi's deck and is like, this dude is the most powerful foe you've ever gone up against. Which includes Yubel herself. And during their duel, Yubel had the power to merge and destroy 12 universes at once.
Ooh, yeah, that's,
Well,
yeah, that's a little bit on the power.
I don't even think power-wise, like, here's the thing, like, you could technically say Ash would be more powerful, technically, because of Solgaleo, but even then, I think Yugi does have specific counters to not just that, but a lot of what Ash can do.
Yeah, I will say one thing I do know Ash definitely has on his side compared to Yugi, and that's just due to how I've seen you guys play the games and from how you guys describe it. Yugi does need to do a lot of, like, prep work to have some of his strategies work, whereas Ash is very good at, like, countering attacks on the spot. Yeah, like, you know, Ash doesn't have to do as many setups, because Ash is also a bit more of a risk taker compared to, like, Yugi is. Like, well, I'm not saying Yugi doesn't put a lot of risk into his things. I mean, his battles are more life and death situations. But in terms of, like, the battles, though, it feels though Ash is one of those people that is kind of one of those, like, do or die in this moment. Like, I might do an attack and it might end up screwing me over. At the other point, though, it might actually help me out. So, because he doesn't have to do much setup, I would say he has that advantage. And I would also argue maybe his bonds with his Pokemon might be stronger than Yugi's. But from what it sounds like, Yugi's monsters seem like they also like rely on his friendship to like be more powerful as well. So, but they could be even in that regard.
I actually had this whole conversation with somebody, like, they were saying, like, yeah, Ash actually has a bond with his monsters, and I'm just like, you know, Yugi does too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, even not just with his monsters, though, like, I mean, the Dark Magician, like, he clearly had a strong bond with, like, the Dark Magician, which I guess you could say is kind of his Pikachu in this case. Which is funny, because I always thought that little, from all the images I saw, that little creature that flies around Yugi was his Pikachu, basically.
Oh, Karibo.
Yeah, the fact you both knew immediately who I was talking about. Nerds!
Because he's an adorable fluff ball, damn it.
He is adorable, to be fair. But yeah.
Yugi can multiply infinitely.
Yeah. Here's the right question I want to go into. Obviously, this section has gone on for a bit. Like, when you guys think about what monsters would you like to see? Because the first thought that comes to mind with me is that, well, obviously, as Mate described the character, obviously, we've got to have a Pikachu versus Dark Magician moment. But okay, I'm not sure if this is... Again, I'm not too familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I remember seeing clips of this one monster, and it's because they gave him the Arnold voice. Please tell me that's a Yu-Gi-Oh! That's Yugi's monster.
That's not one of Yugi's monsters.
No!
That is Jesse.
Damn it. I really wanted a moment where, like, he gets summoned and he fights, like, Charizard or something like that. And I don't know, Charizard Fire Blast him. He goes, "I'll be back," because he gets, like, incinerated. Oh, I'm sad.
I mean, as far as, like, other monsters that we would want to see from Yugi, like, the two big ones for me are both Karibo and Buster Blader.
Yeah.
I do know about Buster Blader, and I kind of want him to fight Greninja.
Yeah. I will say, some of Ash's Pokemon just inherently make Buster Blader stronger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Buster Blader's ability is that it gets stronger the more dragons the opponent has.
Well, I guess we've got to clarify what is really a dragon like.
Ash has dragon-type Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I know he has like Gibble, which I'm still sad it never became a Garchomp. At least let it become a Goodbye or something like that.
And he also has like Dragonite, Goodra, and Noivern.
Yeah.
Oh, and Dracovic.
Yeah, so he has those Pokemon inside.
Dude, I just thought of this. Imagine Surfetch clashing with Buster Blader.
Ooh, that'd be quite sick.
Ooh, I can see that.
I don't really know many Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, but I want to see what would go up against like his Gengar, which I still love that he managed to get a Gengar, because he got a Haunter in the first season and it never evolved and he gave it away, and then he got a Gengar. I was like, yes, all these years he got the Gengar finally.
So, actually, speaking of Gengar, I have heard people bring up the Gengar can like manipulate luck.
Oh, that's true.
And I've seen people say that could be used like to trip Yugi up. Except, so Yugi has two things that counter that. One is the heart of the cards.
That's that thing I say.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is where it's from. And the other thing is just Yugi's own will. Because the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists is that they have this... They can do it in different ways, but basically just through their will alone, they can draw whatever card they want or need at any given time.
Ooh, that's definitely not something Ash has with his Pokemon.
I can see the team like pulling out all the stops for this as a whole for the fight. And obviously, we do know a couple things, but that's up to Bill if he wants to learn here or later.
Yeah, like... I just kind of want to use the last 10 minutes just talking about what we kind of want for this battle, because I don't want it to be like Eggman versus Bowser, where it's like armies just clashing with one another, because that's kind of, from what it sounds like that, and even what I know of Yu-Gi-Oh, that's not how these series really were. Like, obviously, we might not be able to see every Pokemon on Ash's team as well as every one of Yugi's monsters, but we at least got to...
Yeah, probably not.
We're going to have to see some like iconic one-on-one or two-on-two battles, like, you know, Dark Magician versus Pikachu. I feel as though that's got to be the final battle, like, when they've both exhausted their arsenal. But
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
wanna
I could argue that the final battle really should be when Yugi pulls out the Creator of Light.
Yeah, but you know, I want to see like Charizard's definitely got to be used for this fight. Like, I don't think we really need to see.
Oh man, if
Squirtle.
Ash loses, I'm gonna have to watch Charizard die a third time.
Welcome to Death Battle. Now you know how Batman
First time?
feels.
And Goku.
Yeah, it's like technically Goku's died 4 times. Oh wait, no, yeah, 3. Sorry, I was thinking of what was I thinking of?
5 times, technically.
He's died a lot.
He died in Trunks v Silver.
Oh yeah, it was 4 times. Yeah, because there was Goku vs Superman 2. I forgot about that.
I thought you were counting Gogeta Vegito.
I was counting that as well. That's why I went 4 times. I was like, wait, there wasn't a 4th Goku Death Battle. And I'm like, oh wait, no, Goku vs Superman 2. But you know, like we gotta have like Charizard. Like I don't think we really need to see Squirtle or Bulbasaur because I know they're like his original team, but
Ooh, maybe
Yeah,
Charizard
I threw them-
against Safer?
yeah. But it's like, you know, like I wouldn't, you know, maybe even Snorlax. I would love to see what they do. It's like, I want there to be a moment where Snorlax comes in and one of the monsters tries to punch Snorlax. Because one of my favorite battles with Snorlax in like the original Pokemon anime is like, I think it was like the dragon when he went up against, what was her name, Claire from the Dragon Gym in Gen 2. But like any attack like her Pokemon used on Snorlax, he just kind of bounced off his belly. In fact, Snorlax in Ash's team actually has the least amount of losses, well, in his whole Pokemon team. Because most of the time, Pokemon will attack him and their attacks just bounce off him.
Or imagine like Yugi sends like something like Gazelle at Snorlax and Gazelle just bounces off the stomach.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
gets destroyed.
I want something like that. But yeah, like, and maybe even see something like, you know, Lucario. Like, Ash's Lucario has become quite iconic, especially thanks to, like, well, his win against Garchomp. And thank you, Steam, for letting me know the game I downloaded is downloaded. Sorry, that might come up in the recording.
I will add on, like, there was that hype that I made for this matchup, which has done really well. It's nearly at 3K views and sitting at 151 likes. Shameless plug.
It was a good deal. It was good.
But yeah, I ended it with like who I think are some of their heaviest hitters, like Gigantamax Gengar, Ash Greninja, and Mega Lucario.
Yeah, it makes sense, really. Like, Gengar, it's surprising that Gengar was in, like, perhaps, well, it's because of his final season, and yet he definitely stole a few battles. Though I will admit, I do love that one battle against one of Steven's Pokemon, Lilip, when he fired a Shadow Ball and Lilip just smacks it out of the way. Like the most little effort blip. And Gengar's just like, oh, and then he gets smacked around.
Yeah, I've said this to a few people. There's one scene I would like, and people usually say that's not really matching like modern Ash, but I just think it'd be funny. Okay, Yugi summons Dark Magician Gull, and Ash just notes that she's cute, and Pikachu just goes Pika, and he's like, oh, sorry, and just keeps the battle going.
Yeah, well, and the other thing I really want for like this moment of fight, I want them to do a recreation when Ash and Leon, like when they had their final shout. You know when it has like Pikachu and Charizard butting heads, but then it shows them screaming, them butting heads. I want something similar like that with him and Yugi when they're like like when Pikachu and Dark Magician do like one ultimate attack against one another.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, like something like that. Like regardless who wins or loses this, like I want them to have that one moment, like similar to Ash versus Leon when they had that big final attack moment. And yeah, I do feel like Death Battle are going to give Ash more respect than what the community and even what Death Battle did beforehand, because, yeah, he was a bit of a joke, but, you know, Ash was also, again, to call back to what I said before, like, Ash does have more bragging rights than most Pokemon players these days. I mean, you know, he actually managed to defeat a Darkrai, despite him having a clear disadvantage, and even most of his Pokemon aren't at that full max potential, and they've managed to beat stronger Pokemon. So, yeah, I am actually very curious to see what they're going to do with Ash, and hey, maybe I'll actually, after this Death Battle, I might actually check out YuGiOh. In terms of who I think wins, though, like, I was going into this with everything I knew about Ash, and I was thinking Ash was going to win because, well, let's be real, I'm a bit more biased. I know more about Ash than I do Yugi. from what it sounds like, though, while if you want to give the argument they're both great strategists, it's like, okay, yeah, you could be right about that. Both could easily trick one another. They could both, like, plan ahead and stuff like that. But when it comes to the power advantage of most of their monsters and Pokemon, Yugi's sound like they have more power behind them. And even then, like, Yugi himself could potentially just, do what Ty did and just straight up punch Ash in the face.
Actually, I know people want Ash to do that to Yugi.
Oh yeah, so you try to punch Mewtwo?
Particularly Torok. There is something I realized which, so in Season 0, the Pharaoh would do this thing where he makes the Shadow game.
Right.
And the game is whatever rules he sets. So, Yugi could even just, like, remake the rules of Death Battle if he wanted to.
Yeah, which I think that kind of goes into the argument of, is that in Yugi's character to do that? Especially to want to fight against Ash, who's not really a evil character. It's kind of like if Goku tried to use Kryptonite or Red Sun against Superman. It's like, is that in his character to do something like that?
Yeah, well, the thing about that is, like, whatever rules are set, they of course have to be followed. And though, keep in mind, this is Season 0. Yeah, I've only watched like a couple episodes of it so far, but those he plays this game with, they usually end up cheating, and that is ultimately what screws them over.
Ah, okay.
The first guy, he cheated, and then he got subjected to this illusion where, like, he was basically living out his life just being eaten by monsters.
Oh, God. That's freaking dark.
In real life, he had to be hospitalized.
Okay, yeah, let's not do something like that for Ash.
And the second guy, who was holding a high school girl at gunpoint, he cheated in this game, and then he got subjected to an illusion where he was just on fire.
Death Battle, let's not do that. Please.
Yeah, let's not do that. I'm just saying it's something that Yugi could easily do.
Yeah, I mean...
So if the game is just the monsters fight, and say Ash goes in for a punch, that would mean he breaks the rules, and it doesn't end well for him.
Yeah, I just worried they might make Yugi seem like an arsehole on that, and I don't really want Yugi to be seen that way.
I don't want either of them to be seen that way.
Yeah. Like, my final verdict on this anyway, because we have been talking about this for over an hour now. I feel as though Ash has a lot of going for him, but I feel like Yugi just might have more going for him in terms of like his strategy, his improvisation, as well as, well, Mate said about the whole rule-breaking ability he has. It's very... I say it's very clear, but I thought that for Dante vs. Clive. I feel as though Yugi might actually have the win here, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the monsters and which ones will be most represented. I guess from everything you're saying, mate, you seem like you're going for Yugi as well.
Yeah, just from what I've been able to research, it seems like, yeah, Yugi just has the power advantage. Thanks to his deck also having spells and traps, he has all these different tricks that he can use, which include reviving monsters that have fallen, taking control of Ash's, although I imagine through the power of friendship and whatnot, then Ash's Pokemon can just break out of that. You can also just instantly destroy monsters via cards like Mirror Force or Mystic Box or Thousand Knives. Hell, he can even just trap them so the like this one card called Underworld Circle. It means they can only use monsters that have fallen, so they can't use any that they have in reserve. So depending on when that's used, that could royally screw Ash over.
Yeah, so I think me and Mate are going for Yugi. Sean, are you in the Yugi team or are you going for the Ash team?
Despite the fact that this is my childhood and I make content on both franchises, technically, I think Yugi has this because I think Yugi can just counter more, if not almost everything Ash has, whereas Ash doesn't have that luxury. So I'm gonna go for Yugi.
Yeah.
But regardless of who wins, my childhood will die.
There are a couple other traps of Yugi I want to note. And this is also going into why I think he just outright wins.
Do we need to, I mean, we kind of already make it clear that Yugi wins some of these, but I'm just thinking time.
I'll make this simple.
Yeah.
So, two traps he has are Magic Cylinder and Divine Wind, and they basically do the same thing, which is send an attack back at the opponent, not the monster, the opponent. Although Divine Wind doubles it. So in the first Pokemon movie, Ash gets killed by a collision of like Mewtwo and Mew, legendary Pokemon that can scale up to Necrozma, who he one-shot. So that kind of level of power would one-shot Ash. So if Ash uses that kind of power on Yugi, Yugi can just send it right back at him.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of already agreed, like, yeah, Yugi wins. I don't think we need to keep nailing the
I'm just
coffin,
saying there's like multiple methods.
Yeah,
It's insane. I've been researching this a long time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, look, mate, I don't think Pokemon fans need it rubbed in their face that they're losing this. I mean, we could be wrong. Maybe it turns out Ash can counter some of these. We'll have to wait and see.
Again, this debate as a whole has gotten a lot closer over the years.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, for sure.
What the names of the tracks going to be for this? Like, got
Something involving monsters and friendship for certain.
I know Reese has talked about the title being I Choose to Duel.
Okay, that is pretty sick. Also,
Yeah. If that happens, Death Battle, you owe Reese royalties.
One thing I would also like to kind of see is the art picture of being like a Pokeball with both Ash and Yugi's hand on it, but then you have the card of like maybe the Dark Magician coming out of the Pokeball.
That could be like the back of a Yu-Gi-Oh card coming out, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you know, the card coming out for Pokeball.
Or what if the track art itself is a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
Ah, that'd be kind of cool. Oh, maybe they could like make it look like a mixture between the Pokemon card and the Yu-Gi-Oh card, where it's a Yu-Gi-Oh card with like the void in the back of it, but then it's like a Pokeball in it, just like the Pokemon cards.
Overall, there's a lot going for this matchup. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited, and hey, I'm actually getting interested in maybe checking out the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Maybe not the games because they kind of look boring. I'll choose Pokemon Platinum over that any day. Yeah, who am I kidding? I'll play Pokemon Diamond first.